Good evening, everybody. My name is Peter Moses. I am a single person group, and my team name is Pkinsey. That's a wordplay on the marketing group, McKinsey. And my product today would be Gravitas. The name signifies seriousness, dignity, and I think in a world where drinks are presenting themselves to be playful, poppy, I think something that's more serious and signals wellness is a good differentiator. That's why our tagline is "Feeling the Future by Bridging the Gap Between Energy and Wellness." Okay, so the Gen Z paradox in the current functional beverage market is that a lot of Gen Zs, according to the McKinsey report, 78% of Gen Zs prioritize wellness. But a greater percentage of Gen Zs also drink a lot of energy drinks, which from talks about our parents, we know that whenever they hear the can open, they don't like that sound. And the energy drinks right now, even though they say that they're low sugar or no sugar, they still have artificial sweeteners, they have high levels of acidity, and all these things contradict with the wellness aspect that Gen Z strive to attain by disrupting the gut. And as we'll come to see, ultimate energy is not necessarily about just mind and focus, but also how your body feels from within. Currently, the current brands have an average of upwards to 200 milligrams of caffeine. And that's a lot of caffeine, considering most students also drink maybe a cup of coffee, multiple energy drinks in a day, so it ends up leading to addictions and the jitters that my fellow peers and teammates talked about. So this creates a paradox with the Gen Z. So do I focus on energy or do I focus on my wellness and my gut? And currently, we do have two separate functional beverage categories, which is the energy drinks and the prebiotic drinks, basically the Ollipops and the soda and the poppies of the current markets. And for a student that's trying to maximize both aspects, they'll have to either purchase both or maybe buy some supplements on the side. So for somebody that's early in career, either working part-time, dealing with student debt, this tends to be a very inefficient practice, and they'll end up sacrificing one or the other. So what Gravitas does is it removes that and basically puts the choice in one drink. So Gravitas is, in a can, you're getting two benefits, and this is how it's done. This is because instead of higher caffeine levels that create crashes and jitters, we significantly reduce it to the amount that you will find in a regular cup of coffee. And on top of not using citric acid and all these ingredients that current industry providers use to create that crisp feel and taste on their drinks, we change it up by using spring water, no citric acid, and also getting our caffeine not from artificial industrial sources, but instead natural ingredients like natural green tea, yerba mate, and also having prebiotics in our drinks. So the formulation is in a can, in a beverage that is not highly acidic. It's possible for the prebiotics and probiotics to survive and basically be and able to be drank and not like die, if that is a word. And on top of having the gut benefits, there's also adaptogens, because ultimate focus is not necessarily about being the most stimulated person in class or in your society, but also having a calmer mindset. And adaptogens do that very well by regulating your natural body processes, and this creates a sustainable flow of energy throughout the day instead of a high spike and then crashing a couple hours later. And as you see in our cans, I used colors that look like gloss because it's highly marketable to Gen Zs. And also the colors signify the fruit flavors. So if it's orange, you'll think about like orange or mango. If it's green, you'll think about lemon or lime. And the QR codes is because Gravitas is differentiating itself to become a brand that not only sells drinks, but also is commanding authority in the nutritional wellness sector. So whenever a consumer will scan that QR code, it will take them to the website whereby they'll learn not only more about the product that they're drinking, but also additional benefits and how to take care of their nutrition and live better and do better by the food that they consume and the drinks that they drink. Okay. So, category convergence. Currently, energy and gut are the two main functional beverage categories in Gen Zs. And by having one drink that combines both of these, we're basically creating a new product in a sense whereby you're merging two benefits basically. And in a world where everything is fragmented and there's multiple energy brands, the best way to differentiate yourself in a growing market is to provide more value for whoever's buying it. Gen Zs, according to the Pkinsey study that I referenced, most of them are maximalist optimizers, and this means that they'll look around for brands that match their needs, and if anything changes, they'll easily lose their loyalty to you and go to the next. So by achieving the most value, this already sets us apart from the current market. So there's the mental safety, and this means that due to the less amount of caffeine, we're able to reduce the amount of anxiety that somebody would get from drinking this, because caffeine is actually beneficial, but up to a degree. And after like 120 milligrams, the benefits plateau, and now the risks or fear-inducing things occur. And by putting the microbiome first, we differentiate ourselves because we're trying to address this mind-gut axis that most brands right now do not focus on. We don't use any natural flavors. That is an FDA marketing gimmick, because natural flavors mean as long as it was biologically sourced, it doesn't have to be the final product that is actually biological. So we use ingredients that are actually real and good for the body. So here's a diagram about the gut axis brain. So this is like a yin and yang about the human body. And by having your gut technically as your second brain and conveniently like maximizing both, you're creating this ultimate environment for you to actually focus and have energy and feel good about yourself. So our primary target would be the wellness seeker, and this is the seeker that is highly intelligent and knows a lot of things. So this person would read the label. So that's the main point about the QR code, and that is because they'll read that and they'll learn more about the product. So Gravitas replaces their supplement stacks or the choice of them having to buy multiple brand drinks with a single trustworthy beverage. And then our secondary market would be the overwhelmed optimizer, and this is the regular average Gen Z student, a young professional in the market, and they want to be healthy. And what Gravitas does in this for this person is that they give convenience, because they'll be able to buy one drink and they'll know that it'll actually work for them. So in the future, so our marketing strategy is we're going to attract, and this is by the colors, and then we'll convert. And how we do that is because we're consolidating two purchases or multiple purchases into one. And because we have much less amounts of caffeine compared to the current markets, we're also going to retain the consumers, and that is because they'll feel good after consuming our product, and people naturally stick to brands that make them feel good about themselves. And this will allow us to scale. How will we scale in the future? We'll scale in the future due to personalization. Gen Zs are more attuned to brands that are personalized to them, and this holds true in the current market right now with AI and the fact that users are using health devices and using data by making most of our purchases online will enable us to create a data moat. And there is a research with Jungle Scout they did that consumers that subscribe and save on Amazon end up spending 40% more than somebody that just buys whenever they need the product. So if we have some sort of subscription model for our drinks, then I think that it'll create the recurring purchase, basically. So why now? The infrastructure is there. There's the online infrastructure, and the functional beverage market is booming. And by maximizing on converging two different benefits, we are creating ourselves a competitive advantage from the current brands. Because if they decide to add these prebiotics and focus on the gut, they're going to have to change their formulas to be able to sustain these living organisms in their drinks. And that basically will spoil their margins, and it will give us a runway to be able to capture market before they get to catch up with us. So there's still low margins and high volume currently right now, and the fact that we'll provide premium value will allow us to be able to have a great product. So Gravitas, because of significance in the name, we're bringing dignity and substance back to the energy aisle. So our tagline is serious energy, seriously good. And thank you for your time. Here are a couple of references that I had. There's more references in my report using that QR code right there, and I'm open for any questions from anybody.
Thank you.
Can you go one back?
What happened?
Can you go one back?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Give me a picture.
No, thank you. Yes.
I think this is one of the most sophisticated presentations as a standalone that we've seen, and I think that's where your delivery was excellent. We saw a lot of great deliveries, but if you were to send this presentation alone, this could live on the shelf by itself. So that takes it to another level, and I can see your inspiration with Pkinsey, the way you present yourself and summarize your insights, and even the form. And I think that's amazing. I also just want to encourage you that there are other good sources out there besides Pkinsey.
No, I thought that.
It's okay. No, just, like Pkinsey's great, but they are one of the most expensive, highly thought of themselves. And there's other great resources too. They do. But you did excellent. And I just want to say that your delivery was great. I loved how you talked about a health tax, so you did have some very unique elements that I could tell were that you summarized in your own words. And then you talked about mental safety. I really thought that was relevant, and hopefully more people will talk like that in the future. And then your idea of tracking ingredients with your supply chain. I mean, something small, but know your farmer, that's personal, a way to bring it to life. I thought it was just really, really excellent. Good job.
Thank you. A really cool thing about having an online presence is that you could go ahead and personalize it even further. You could in the future create products with less caffeine for people that want less caffeine, or extra other ingredients.
Yeah, and that's where I think you could appeal the Gen Z. They feel like it's made for them too,
right.
Or really anyone. I mean, at that point, if you can customize it. But I thought it was excellent.
Thank you. Yes.
Ditto on what Kristen said. I really like how you set up the Gen Z paradox and the health tax as being problems that Gravitas then solves as a combo product. I think the two audiences you showed were one a little bit more educated about how this product works, so prebiotics and the health benefits associated with that. Do you think there'd be different marketing strategies based on how knowledgeable someone is about this area, these types of beverages?
I think a really good marketing tactic, we could take inspiration from Tesla, for example. In 2019, Elon Musk said that they have never spent marketing dollars. That might be highly blasphemous, but but it's still quite impressive. So that means having a good product would be a product that the current consumers would be able to attract other consumers. So if the initial people that use our product actually like it and actually feel good from it and they understand it, they'll be able to spread the word to the friends around them. And being able to have really good packaging would allow for user-generated content online on social media, so the marketing would be there for us. And so I think targeting these avenues whereby the marketing is much more organic is a great differentiator, especially since we're starting in this market. And then eventually, then yes, we will, spend dollars on ads and influencer connects and all that. Yes.
Great job, great presentation. Again, a lot of what Kristen said, but I was really impressed how you were able. You very seldom looked at your slides. You very seldom looked at your notes. You were able to talk through everything. You knew your material very well and could talk to it and tell your story.
Thank you.
Very impressed with that. You even were anticipating questions and answering them as you went along. You got to your slide with your cans and the different colors, and I was asking the question to myself, what are the different colors represented? You're answering that for me as I'm thinking the question. So very, very smart presentation skills. Again, the wellness tax, I made a note of that. I like just a unique phrase that caught my attention. I like that you were connecting the gut and brain health. You had a slide up there. I think you could have focused on that a little bit more. I think you could have talked a little bit more on that, but I like that you brought that in and were highlighting that. So very nice. I like the QR codes. I think that's a great way to encourage people to get more information on the health, which is what you're anticipating. So nice job.
Thank
And
you so much.
the way you carried yourself, you were able to connect that you've done all the homework and you even know the consumer. Like, you brought them to life in your targets, and you could see that in your presentation. So it was just as an example of different ways of incorporating your homework and showing what you've done, that you know what you're talking about, and people should hire you and buy your idea. So I thought everything was great.
Thank you.
It was really good.
Any other questions? No.
Okay.
Thank you.